Hello, in this update I'm going to share some details about the look dev that I did for this character and how I came up with a name. So I had been thinking for a while, what am I going to name this character? And it's hard. Names are hard. You need something that's going to be recognizable and, unique amongst all of the things that exist. And I'm not that good at naming. But I had a small list of potential candidates that I was adding to regularly now and again. But one morning, I'm lying in bed having my coffee, reluctant to get up, and I'm on the scroll like you can be, and there I am on Twitter, and somebody in my Twitter feed, so I have a bunch of different kinds of things in my Twitter feed, including a bunch of things related to machine learning and AI. And so one of these people I follow, or someone that they follow, posted the results from a query to GPT-J. This is a natural language processing model, massive model trained on a huge volume of data, text data from the internet, like all of Wikipedia and all of Reddit and all the blogs, etc. So this is one of these models, one of the most advanced ones of these models. And they had made a prompt. So the way this thing works is you give it some text and it will complete the text in a way that's very plausible. And so they had made a prompt to make up Pokemon names, and it made it like a list. And I thought, oh, this is interesting. Let me make lists of names and see what comes out of it. And so that's pretty much what I did. And I'll show you what that looks like here. So this is the interface for the thing. And as you can see, you can choose between a couple of different language models. GPT-J is larger than the ones that came before it. And GPT-J is kind of like an open source version of a model called GPT-3, which is regarded as the most advanced one of these natural language processing models, pre-trained models. And that one comes from OpenAI, but you have to join a waitlist and be approved in order to use it. And so some other people made one that was fully open source, trained on a similar body of data, and they operate in similar ways. So here's one interface from the people who are responsible for it, and this is another interface. This is the one that I had seen in the Twitter posts and the one that I had used. So I'll show you some screen grabs from when I had done this. So I started out with asking the model to show me some sexy superhero names, and I didn't even spell it right because there I am, it's early and I'm in bed. But immediately it made some really super interesting results, including some explanations, which I thought was just super cool. And a lot of these results were really super cool. This one is just more names and some extra, excited words. Superman lady, it would be like calling Daffy Superwoman. Yeah, almost makes sense. Here's some more. And then I tried some other prompts. Actually, before I get to that, then I noticed it's giving these little categories of things, which I thought was quite peculiar. So I just kept punching in different things or asking it to extend the list, which is one of the things that you can do. There's a couple of knobs on the thing, like one's called temperature, and you can dial it to get more results that you think are that the model thinks are more plausible, and going the other way gets more crazy and wild. So I also tried some Pokemon names to see what would come out of it, and some interesting options there. And I tried some funky lady rapper names, see what that would do, and this was super interesting as well, and it starts to make some categories, including business people from Louisville, Kentucky. Very interesting. Here's some more of those. I thought these had some legs, some potential names in here. But then I saw this, and I got really excited that it started to alphabetize these lists. It started going through the alphabet and making more and more names under a letter just on its own. And on this page here, I was sharing this whole results excitedly with my partner, and she pointed out Juan Daffy, really liked it. And I also noticed Juan Daffy amongst this big list here that I was generating. And we both liked it, and that's what I'm going to go with. So yeah, that's pretty much how I came about the name. So the other thing that I wanted to share with you was the results from my look dev process. So I used Substance Painter to do my look dev, and I set things up in Unreal Engine. And before I had even started this, I was thinking about what kind of environment am I going to set up in Unreal Engine to get a good look dev kind of, make sure things were balanced and working right. So I kind of imagined I'd maybe grab one of the outdoor scenes from Quixel Megascans, one of those example scenes, maybe use that. But one other time I was on a scrolling adventure. This time it was on LinkedIn, which I don't really go to very often. Usually I'm going there to find a former colleague, to send them a note or something, ask them a question. But this time I was scrolling there on their social media kind of thing, and I saw in my feed that someone had shared a turntable that was in a really cool looking environment, like a photo studio kind of environment, and I really thought that was very cool. And they tagged in where it came from. It was from the Cave Academy, which I hadn't heard of before. So I went to their website. Looks like this, and it's a very interesting sort of VFX academy where they have a lot of really cool online coursework and some other kinds of courses, which I haven't really dug into too much yet, to be honest, but it looks really cool. They've got some dailies where you can get reviews from industry experts, but over here is where I got this environment that I'm using. They've got this shop with a number of very affordably priced assets, including models that you can do look dev on, look dev environments like this one for Unreal Engine, as well as some IBLs and other look dev related things. And on this second page here, there's a some free lighting assets for Unreal Engine. These free HDRs, which are really quite nice and useful. And this, which got me really excited. This is a whole studio. I really like the idea of having a whole studio, and I think this is what I saw on the LinkedIn post that I referred to. And you could see here, I'm going to turn it down. It's a whole environment with a bunch of props and some cycloramas, a bunch of lights. It's all been set up, ready to go, ready to use for Arnold. And I kind of thought it'd be great to have this in Unreal Engine. I didn't really know how much work would be involved, but I was keen to find out what it would take to take this whole environment and port it into Unreal Engine. I didn't really know how I was going to do that. I thought maybe I would look at USD, but it had been a while since I looked at what state USD was in both Maya and in Unreal Engine. I wasn't really sure how much time I was going to invest into looking at that now. So then I thought about using Datasmith. Datasmith is a feature that takes data from many applications and brings it into Unreal Engine. A lot of them are ArchViz related, ArchViz type of CAD related applications. And I looked into it, but there's no pathway that goes directly from Maya into Unreal Engine through the Datasmith. Maya is not one of the applications that is supported. But 3D Studio Max is supported, and there is a pathway to go from Maya into 3D Studio Max with a button click, if they're the same version, I learned. And so I tried that, and it actually worked. I got all of the data in the right place. All of the meshes showed up in the engine, and then it was a matter of hooking up the looks, all of the textures and the looks. Now, some of the assets in there had UDIMs. We're using UDIMs. And so I needed virtual texturing, and then I realized I needed to have the the textures named in a particular way, which is to say it needs a name, and then a dot, and then the UDIM number, and then a dot, and then the extension. So I wrote a script to rename those textures. So then everything was in Unreal Engine. I made a master material and started connecting up the textures and balancing the looks a little bit, and here's the results. It went pretty smooth. I did change the floor material a bit into something from Quixel. I'm here in 4.27, so this isn't using Lumen, but I have turned on the GI and the ray tracing features to take advantage of my graphics card. And everything works pretty well. There is one slight downside. Some of these assets have complicated hierarchies, like meshes nested under other meshes, which and a lot of these kind of group assets. So, potentially I could go and tidy this up and combine some of these meshes and make this a little bit more manageable if I had to spend a lot of time here. But I think for my interests, this is working fine. I did actually spend a little time turning the lights into a blueprint that I could use a little bit more effectively. So what I had done here, let me just frame up on this, is I took these sort of light assets and I kind of separated them out a little bit in Maya and exported them very specifically so that I could make this blueprint where I could have one light stand and change the head into these different heads, and that I could have control over the height here with a little extension, and have the color and intensity control both the light that is inside of this blueprint as well as the material that's on the face of this thing. So if I gave it a tint, it would show up on the face. Yeah, and so I also did that to the house lights, and if I bring the house lights down, I could show you the look dev that I worked out on the character. Looking here like so, and that's where I got to. I had a little bit of indecision about how I was going to treat all these elements. Pretty much everything except for the sneakers was filled with indecision. Tried a lot of different colors for the costume, a lot of different colors for the skin. Ended up with this kind of porcelain skin type of look in this red costume, which, maybe I'll try some different things. I would like to make some costume elements, like clothing elements, which I hope to do at some future point. But at the moment, this is what I've got, and this is what I'm going to go live with. So there you go. Thank you for joining me for this update, and I hope you follow along and come back for some future updates. Until next time.